A very warm welcome, dear shining stars, with your learning buddy Aprajita to your class 8th English class. And children, let's start with a new chapter, chapter number 8, A Man of Learning. तो आइए इस चैप्टर में देखते हैं क्या है. Let's warm up first. Have you ever been late for your school? कभी आप लेट हुए हैं स्कूल के लिए या वर्क प्लेस के लिए? What do you feel? Discuss with your friends. कभी अगर लेट हुए हैं अपने स्कूल में जाने के टाइम या वर्क प्लेस पे जाते हुए तो आपको कैसा लगता है? Let's read this chapter. Between 5 and 6 in the evening, a fairly well-known man of learning. We will call him simply the man of learning. He is sitting in his study room, nervously biting his nails. अब 5 और 6 का टाइम है शाम के और एक फेयरली वेल नोन मैन ऑफ लर्निंग, उसको मैन ऑफ लर्निंग के नाम से ही जाना जाता है, और वो अपने रूम में स्टडी रूम में बैठा हुआ अपने नेल्स बाइट कर रहा है और नर्वस दिख रहा है. इट्स पॉजिटिवली रिवोल्टिंग, ही सेड, कंटिन्यूअली लुकिंग एट हिज वॉच. बार बार वो अपनी घड़ी की तरफ देख रहा है. इट शोज द utmost disrespect for another man's time and work. In England, such a person would not earn a farthing. He would die of hunger. You wait a minute when you do come. And he, वो nails bite कर रहा है अपने, और क्या बोल रहा है अपने आप में ही, क्या बोल रहा है कि ये एक डिसरिस्पेक्ट होता है किसी दूसरे इंसान के टाइम और वर्क के लिए, कि अगर कोई इंसान लेट होता है अपने वर्क प्लेस पर, किसी से मिलना है अगर, तो टाइम पे पहुंचना ज़रूरी होता है. और इंग्लैंड में ऐसा इंसान तो बिल्कुल अर्न ही नहीं कर सकता, वो तो भूख से मर ही जाएगा. एंड फीलिंग अ क्रेविंग वेंट हिज रैप एंड इम्पेशंस अपॉन समवन, द मैन ऑफ लर्निंग गोज टू द डोर लीडिंग टू हिज वाइफ्स रूम एंड नॉक्स. एंड अब वो जो वेट कर रहा था, वो जो मैन ऑफ लर्निंग था, वो जो वेट कर रहा था, उसका इम्पेशंस दिख रहा था. वो उठ के वहाँ से गया और अपनी वाइफ के रूम में नॉक किया उसने. Listen, Katya, he says in an indigent voice. If you see Peter Dinklage, tell him that decent people don't do such things. It's abominable. He recommends a secretary and does not know the sort of man he is recommending. The wretched boy is 2 or 3 hours late with unfailing regularity every day. Do you call this a secretary? Now, उसने अपनी वाइफ के डोर को नॉक किया, उससे बोला कि कात्या मेरी बात सुनो, अगर तुम्हें पीटर डिनलिच मिलते हैं तो उनसे कहना कि क्या ऐसे लोग सेक्रेटरी के पोस्ट के लिए अच्छे होते हैं जो रोज़ लेट आते हैं. डेली वो बॉय, वो जो लड़का है, वो लेट होता है 2 to 3 hours और 3 years to other people. Those 2 or 3 hours are more precious to me than 2 or 3 years to other people. और वो जो 2-3 घंटे वो जो लेट होता है वो मेरे लिए बहुत ज़्यादा प्रीशियस है. When he does come, I will swear at him like a dog and won't pay him and will kick him out. It's no use standing on ceremony with people like that. Now this man of learning is very angry, बहुत गुस्से में. You say that every day and yet he goes on coming and coming. अब उसकी वाइफ बोलती है कि ये तो तुम रोज़ बोलते हो, लेकिन फिर भी वो आता ही रहता है, रोज़ ही आता है वो. But today I have made up my mind. I have lost enough through him. You must excuse me, but I shall swear at him like a cabman. Now this man of learning says कि रोज़ वो आ रहा है, लेकिन आज मैंने अपना माइंड मेकअप कर लिया है कि I will kick him out. At last a ring is heard. The man of learning makes a grave face. Drawing himself up and throwing back his head, he goes into the entry. There his Emmanuelus Ivan Matvich, a young man of 18, with a face oval as an egg and no mustache, wearing a shabby mangy overcoat, is already standing by the hat stand. और जैसे ही वो एंट्री पे जाता है, बेल रिंग होती है जब, तो मैन ऑफ लर्निंग एंट्री पे जाता है, वहाँ वो 18-year-old बॉय खड़ा हुआ है. He is in breathless haste and scrubbily wipes his huge clumsy boots on the doormat, trying as he does so to conceal from the maidservant a hole in his boot through which a white sock is peeping. Seeing the man of learning, he smiles with that broad, prolonged, somewhat foolish smile which is seen only on the faces of children or very good-natured people. और उस मैन ऑफ लर्निंग को देख के वो जो यंग बॉय है वो एक बहुत बड़ी सी स्माइल पास करता है. गुड इवनिंग, he says, holding out a big wet hand. Has your sore throat gone? और क्या पूछता है कि आपका गला ठीक हो गया है? Ivan Matveich, says the man of learning in a shaking voice, stepping back and clasping his hands together. Ivan Matveich, his name, he speaks his name again and again, Ivan Matveich. Then he dashes up to the amanuensis, clutches him by the shoulders and begins feebly shaking him. और वो मैन ऑफ लर्निंग जाके उस लड़के के शोल्डर्स को पकड़ के उसको बहुत ज़ोर से हिलाता है. What a way to treat me, he says with despair in his voice. You dreadful, horrid fellow, what a way to treat me. Are you laughing at me? Are you jeering at me? Now this man of learning is very angry. Judging from the smile which still lingered on his face, Ivan Matveich had expected a very different reception. And so, seeing the man of learning's countenance eloquent of indignation, his oval face grows longer than ever, and he opens his mouth in amazement. What is it? He asks. अब तक तो स्माइल कर रहा था. That 18-year-old boy, he was smiling. And you ask that? The man of learning clasps his hand. वो मैन ऑफ लर्निंग कहता है, तुम मुझसे पूछ रहे हो कि what is it? मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ? You know how precious time is to me, and you are so late. You are 2 hours late. Have you no fear of God? तुम 2 घंटे लेट आए हो. क्या तुम्हें ईश्वर से डर नहीं लगता? I haven't come straight from home, mutters Ivan Matveich, untying his scarf irresolutely. I have been at my aunt's name day party, and my aunt lives 5 miles away. If I had come straight from the home, then it would have been a different thing. अब वो इवान क्या कहता है कि मैं अपने घर से नहीं आया हूँ, मैं अपने आंट के यहाँ गया था, नेम डे पार्टी थी उनके यहाँ, और जो कि 5 miles away हैं. That's why I got late. Come, reflect, Ivan Matveich. Is there any logic in your conduct? Here you have work to do, work at fixed time, and you go flying off after name day parties and aunts. But do make haste and undo your wretched scarf. It's beyond endurance, I really. That man of learning says कि यहाँ तुम्हारा काम पड़ा हुआ है, तुम्हारा वर्क फिक्स्ड है, टाइम फिक्स्ड है, और तुम पार्टीज में जा रहे हो, अपने आंट के घर जा रहे हो मिलने के लिए. The man of learning dashes up to the amanuensis again and helps him to disentangle his scarf. उसका स्कार्फ खोलने में उसको हेल्प करता है. You are done up like a pleasant woman. Come along, please make haste. और उससे कहते हैं जल्दी आओ अंदर. Blowing his nose in a dirty, crumpled up handkerchief and pulling down his grey referee jacket, Ivan Matveich goes through the hall and the drawing room to the study room. Ivan उस आदमी के साथ study room तक चला जाता है. Then a pen and paper had been put ready for him long ago. वहाँ एक पेन और पेपर पहले से ही तैयार था उसके लिए. Sit down, the man of learning urges him on, rubbing his hands impatiently. You are an insufferable person. You know the work has to be finished by a certain time, and then you are so late. Again the man of learning says कि तुम्हें पता है ये वर्क टाइम पे होना है और फिर तुम लेट हो. One is forced to scold you. Come, write. Where did we stop? अब वो उसको फिर से वर्क पे लगाता है. Ivan Matveich smooths his bristling cropped hair and takes up his pen. अब वो अपना पेन उठाता है. The man of learning walks up and down the room, concentrates himself and begins to dictate. Okay, now the work starts. The fact is, comma, that so to speak fundamental forms, have you written it? वो उसको बोलता जा रहा है और पूछता जा रहा है क्या लिखा तुमने? Forms are conditioned entirely by the essential nature of those principles, comma, which find in them their expressions and can only be embodied in them. ये सब वो man of learning उसको बता रहा है और इवान लिख रहा है. New line. There is a stop there. Of course, more independence is found by the forms which have not so much a political comma as a social character. The high school boys have a different uniform now, a grey one, said Ivan Matveich. When I was at school it was better. They used to wear regular uniforms. Oh dear, write please, says the man of learning wrathfully. Character. Have you written it? उसको लिखवाता जा रहा है और बीच बीच में पूछता भी जा रहा है कि लिखा तुमने? Speaking of the forms relating to the organization of administrative functions and not to the regulation of the life of the people, comma, it cannot be said that they are marked by the nationalism of their forms. That last three words in inverted commas, I, tut, tut. So, what do you want to say about the high school? That they used to wear a different uniform in my time. Ah, indeed. Is it long since you left the high school? Now they are talking amongst themselves. वो जो बीच में उसने कहा था वैन ने हाई स्कूल की बात, अब वो मैन ऑफ लर्निंग उससे पूछता है. It is 3 years since I left school. And why did you give up high school? Asked the man of learning, looking at Ivan Matveich's writing. उसकी राइटिंग को देखते हुए उससे कहता है कि तुमने हाई स्कूल क्यों छोड़ा? Oh, through family circumstances. The maidservant brings in a tray with 2 glasses of tea on it and a basket of rusks. Ivan Matveich takes his glass awkwardly with both hands and at once begins drinking it. The tea is too hot. अब वो चाय, वो maidservant चाय लेके आती है. To avoid burning his mouth, Ivan Matveich tries to take a tiny sip. Now see. They both are sitting here, the man of learning is here, Ivan is here and they are having tea. He eats one rusk, then a second, then a third and looking sideways with embarrassment at the man of learning, timidly stretches after a fourth. 4 rusks खा लेता है. The noise he makes in swallowing the relish with which he smacks his lips and the expression of hungry greed in his raised eyebrows irritate the man of learning. जिस तरह से वो खा रहा था, उसको भूख लगी थी और वो खा रहा था, it was irritating that man of learning. Make haste and finish, time is precious. फिर से वो बोलता है कि जल्दी खाओ, जल्दी करो, क्योंकि टाइम बहुत precious है. You dictate, I can drink and write at the same time. I must confess I was hungry. अब इवान कहता है कि आप डिक्टेट कीजिए, मैं लिखता भी रहूँगा और चाय भी पीता रहूँगा, क्योंकि और मैं ये कन्फेस करता हूँ कि मुझे बहुत भूख लगी थी. I should think so after your walk. Yes, and what wretched weather. In our parts there is a scent of spring by now. There are puddles everywhere, the snow is melting. You are southerner, I suppose, from the Don region. It's quite spring with us by March. Here it is frosty, everyone's in a fur coat, but there you can see the grass. It's dry everywhere and one can even catch tarantulas. Now this is the conversation between the man of learning and Ivan. And what do you catch tarantulas for? Oh, to pass the time, says Ivan Matveich and he sighs. But we must write. Where did we stop? Again they start writing. The man of learning dictates another 20 lines, then sits plunged in meditation. फिर से 20 lines और लिखवाता है और फिर वो बैठ जाता है meditation. Ivan Matveich, waiting while the other cogitates, sits and craning his neck, puts the collar of his shirts to right. His tie will not sit properly. The stud has come out and the collar keeps coming part. Says the man of learning. Well, haven't you found a job yet, Ivan Matveich? अब वो इवान से पूछता है कि क्या तुम्हें अभी तक कोई जॉब नहीं मिली? No. And how is one to find one? I'm thinking you know of volunteering for the army, but my father advises my going into a chemist. Now again, these two are in a conversation. वो कहता है कि मेरे फादर चाहते हैं कि मैं केमिस्ट बनूं, but I want to volunteer in the army. But it would be better for you to go into the university. Now this man of learning tells Ivan, the examination is difficult, but with patience and hard work, you could get through. Study, read more. Do you read much? Not much, I must own, says Ivan Matveich. Have you read Turgenev? No. And Gogol? Gogol? No, I haven't read him. Ivan Matveich, aren't you ashamed? You are such a nice fellow, much that is original in you. You haven't even Gogol. You must read him. I will give you his works. It's essential to read him. We shall quarrel if you don't. And the man of learning says कि मैं तुम्हें ये Gogol दूंगा and you will read about him. Again a silence follows. The man of learning meditates, half reclining on a soft lounge, and Ivan Matveich, leaving his collar in peace, concentrates his whole attention on his boots. और इवान अपने boots की तरफ देखता है. He has not till then noticed that two big puddles have made by the snow melting of his boots on the floor. अब जो उसके boots पे snow जमी हुई थी, वो पिघलने के बाद वहाँ floor पे दो पानी के puddles बन गए थे. He is ashamed. I can't get on today, mutters the man of learning. I suppose you are fond of catching birds too, Ivan Matveich. That's in autumn. Ivan कहता है autumn में. I don't catch them here, but there at home I always did. To be sure, very good. But we must write though. The man of learning gets up resolutely and begins dictating, but after 10 lines sits down and the lounge again. फिर से 10 lines dictate करता है वो इवान को और फिर से वो बैठ जाता है. No, perhaps we had better put it off till tomorrow morning, he says. Come tomorrow morning, only come early at 9 o'clock. God preserve you from being late. अब इवान को वो next day morning 9 o'clock तक बुलाता है. Ivan Matveich lays down his pen, gets up from the table and sits in another chair. 5 minutes pass in silence and he begins to feel it is time for him to go, that he is in the way, but in the man of learning study it is so snug and light and warm, and the impression of the nice rusks and sweet tea is still so fresh that there is a pang at his heart at the mere thought of home. अब इवान अपना पेन रख देता है because the man of learning has stopped dictating now, और वो उसे next day morning बुलाता है. फिर वो थोड़ी देर इवान बैठता है वहाँ पे और वही that tea, that sweet tea और रस जो उसने खाए थे वो सब वो याद करता है. And the thought of going home disturbs him. At home there is poverty, hunger, cold, his grumbling father's scoldings, and here it is so quiet and unruffled, and interest even is taken in his tarantulas and birds. उसको यहाँ ज़्यादा अच्छा लगता है because घर में उसके poverty है, his father, grumbling father is there, hunger है वहाँ, ठंड है वहाँ. The man of learning looks at his watch and takes up a book. So you will give me Gogol, says Ivan Matveich, getting up. Yes, but why are you in such a hurry, my dear boy? Sit down and tell me something. अब man of learning उससे कहता है इतनी जल्दी क्या है तुम्हें जाने की, तुम बैठो थोड़ी देर और बताओ कुछ अपने बारे में. Ivan Matveich sits down and smiles broadly. Almost every evening he sits in this study room and always feels something extraordinarily soft attracting him, as it were acne, in the voice and glance of the man of learning. Daily वो यहाँ बैठ के शाम को evening में उसके साथ बातें करता है. There are moments when he even fancies that the man of learning is becoming attached to him, used to him, and that if he scolds him for being late, it's simply because he misses his chatter about tarantulas and how they catch goldfinches on the dawn. और इवान ये सोचता है कि अगर मैन ऑफ लर्निंग वो मुझे डांटते भी हैं तो जस्ट वो मुझे मिस करते हैं क्योंकि मेरी बातें मिस करते हैं. जो टैरेंटुलाज और गोल्डफिंचेस कैच करने की बातें मैं करता हूँ उनको मिस करते हैं. दैट्स वाई ही गेट्स एंग्री एंड ही स्कोल्ड्स. सो this was all in this chapter, and now we'll do some comprehension, children. Pyotr Danilych recommends a dash for the man of learning. Vendor, secretary, servant, hawker, a secretary. Ivan Matveich was a young man of dash 1931-2018. He was of 18. Ivan Matveich smooths his bristling cropped dash and takes up his pen. Nails, hair, eyes, shirt, hair. The maidservant brings in a tray with 2 glasses of dash on it. Juice, coffee, tea, milk. Tea. Now fill in the blanks. Want, sitting, goes, lost. A fairly well-known man of learning is dash in his study room. Is sitting in his study room. I have dashed enough through him. I have lost enough through him. Ivan Matveich dashed through the hall to the study room. Ivan Matveich goes through the hall. Goes. So what did you dash to say about the high school? So what did you want to say about the high school? Now let's move ahead. Say if the given statements are true, T, or false, F. The man of learning hated his assistant for his late coming. No, he never hated his assistant. This is false. He just got angry. The man of learning fired Ivan when he came. False. Ivan Matveich was dressed meticulously. No. False. The 2 men worked more than they talked. Yes, they worked more. True. Ivan Matveich had to drop out of school through family circumstances. Yes, this is true. Ivan Matveich wanted to stay in the workplace because it was cozy. Yes, this is also true. Now answer the following questions. For whom was the man of learning waiting? The man of learning was waiting for his secretary Ivan Matveich to come. What did the man of learning complain his wife? The man of learning told his wife that the secretary which the person had given him, had appointed, is always getting late and today he'll just kick him out of the work. What did his wife say in response to his complaint? When the man of learning complained his wife about the late coming of the secretary, the wife said that daily you are complaining and again that boy comes for the work. Who was Ivan Matveich? How was he dressed? Ivan Matveich was the secretary of the man of learning and he was very shabbily dressed. What topics did the 2 talk about? They talked about the high school, they talked about the tarantulas which Ivan caught, and they talked about the education of Ivan, the reading the books which Ivan had not read. Now children, some grammar, subject and predicate. Every sentence has 2 parts. हर एक सेंटेंस के 2 पार्ट्स होते हैं. The subject and the predicate. एक पार्ट होता है subject, दूसरा होता है predicate. The subject is the first part of a sentence. It tells us who or what the sentence is about. पहला पार्ट होता है subject and दूसरा पार्ट होता है predicate. Swapnil is a teacher of German. Swapnil's school is in Agra. Lucy and Tanya play chess every evening. The predicate comes after the subject and contains a verb. It tells us something about the subject. जो subject के बारे में कुछ बताता है उसे कहते हैं predicate. Swapnil is the teacher of German. तो Swapnil हो गया subject and is the teacher of German है predicate. Fine? Now, Swapnil's school is in Agra. Swapnil's school, the predicate comes after the subject. So, Swapnil's school is in Agra. Again, the same subject, first part of the sentence tells us what or who the sentence is about. जिसके बारे में बताया जा रहा है वो होता है subject. Jenny's sisters attend piano classes on weekends. अब subject क्या है? Jenny's sister. और उनके बारे में क्या बताया जा रहा है? Attend piano classes on weekends. ये हो गया predicate. Predicate comes after the subject, contains verb, tells something about the subject. Subject, form and function. The subject is a sentence the subject in a sentence is usually a noun or a noun phrase. Other types of words, when they occur as subjects, behave like nouns. Now, fruits contain vitamins. Noun as subject. Fruits is a noun and it's acting as a subject. Imperative sentences may appear to have no subject. अब जो imperative sentences हैं उसमें कोई subject नहीं होता है. That is because the subject in them is you. हम खुद होते हैं. Which is implied. Like write the heading first. You write the heading. किसी को हम बोल रहे हैं ना write the heading first, तो जिसको हम बोल रहे हैं वो subject हो गया. It is understood. Questions or interrogative sentences do not start with subject. अब जो क्वेश्चन होता है, जो इंटरोगेटिव सेंटेंसेस होते हैं वो सब्जेक्ट से नहीं स्टार्ट होते हैं. द सब्जेक्ट इज इन क्वेश्चंस कम्स आफ्टर द वर्ब दैट स्टार्ट्स द सेंटेंस. इज अजयता a teacher of German? Is Ajayta a teacher of German? The subject does not come first in exclamatory sentence either. Exclamatory sentences में भी subject पहले नहीं आता है. Predicate, form and function. The predicate must contain a verb. Predicate में verb ज़रूर होना चाहिए. It can also contain other elements like objects, complements and adverbials, all depending on the nature of verb. Fine? Just read all these sentences. Now, circle the subjects and underline the predicates in the following sentences. Ali has bought a wall mounting bookshelf. Ali is the subject, so circle the subject. Has bought a wall mounting bookshelf. This is the predicate. The wax polish looks like an ice cream. The wax polish is the subject and looks like an ice cream is the predicate. Did you leave the back door open? Now, you is the subject. Leave the back door open is the predicate. Now, complete these two sentences yourself, children. And these are more sentences. So, I found a dead rat inside the wardrobe. I, subject is I. Found a dead rat inside the wardrobe is predicate. Fine, complete the rest of the sentences. Write your own subjects for the following predicates. अब यहाँ predicates दिए हुए हैं, हमें subject fill करना है. Dash is an amazing dancer. Sunita is an amazing dancer. Dash loved to go rafting in the river. Children love to go rafting in the river. Now this is up to you, whatever subject you want to fill. Just fill in the subjects. Write your own predicates for the following subjects. अब यहाँ subjects दिए हैं, हमें predicate fill करने हैं. Veena and I love to dance. Fine. Some of the onions in this bag were rotten. तो सब्जेक्ट दिया हुआ है, हमें प्रेडिकेट फिल करने हैं. जस्ट फिल इन द प्रेडिकेट्स हियर. नाउ स्पीकिंग स्किल्स. होल्ड अ क्लासरूम डिबेट ऑन द टॉपिक पंक्चुअलिटी. पंक्चुअलिटी क्या होती है, क्यों पंक्चुअल होना ज़रूरी है, इसके ऊपर एक डिबेट, एक अपने क्लासरूम में डिबेट रखिए. Writing skills. Imagine you are Ivan Matveich and you want to thank your teacher for making you understand the value of punctuality. Convey to him your determination to do well. Write a letter to convey all this. Now, आप इमेजिन कीजिए कि आप इवान मैथवेच हैं और आप अपने टीचर को थैंक्स करना चाहते हैं क्योंकि आपके टीचर ने आपको वैल्यू ऑफ पंक्चुअलिटी समझाई है. सो जस्ट राइट अ लेटर टू कन्वे हिम थैंक्स. And values, we should always be punctual in every field of life. It's a great virtue. This is one of the virtue, punctuality is one of the virtue which each and every person should have. अगर हमें अपने life में we have to get success, we have to reach our goals, then we have to be punctual. Punctuality is a very great virtue, children. Fine. So here we end up with the chapter. I hope you enjoyed the chapter and had learned a lot too. So stay tuned for the new video. We'll meet soon with a new chapter. Till then, keep learning. Bye.